are joined by creator, founder, all things, A Sea of Red, main man, and my good friend, Jon Manson. Jon, you just watched that Kyle DeArmond interview. He gave some great perspective on what BYU meant. But for as somebody who has been around the program for since about 2003, 2002, something like that, and then been a diehard since around about that same time. What did Saturday night mean to you? Were you catching all those emotions like Kyle was?
Yeah, that was a great interview, and I might say one of the best interviews we've ever had on the Sea Red podcast. Great job, and love having Kyle on to share his thoughts and his opinions, unlike anybody else. But yeah, I mean, it was I was kind of feeling it all week leading up to the game, just the emotions of it and everything, and Saturday as well. It was just kind of hitting me of how big of a game it was, how important it was, how much it meant to the school, to the football program, and to everyone, to all the alums, the fans, the team, players, coaches, admin, everybody go up and down the list. And I went down. Todd Wetmore, the SID for football, told us up in the press box. He said, "Hey, if you guys want to," this was in the fourth quarter. Actually, I think it was in the third quarter. He said, "If you guys, because we always go down right at the end of the game to get to the press conference after the game, which is right outside the locker room with Coach Freeze." And he's like, "If you guys want to get down there, you got to go down early because they're going to be, fighting off the students from getting on the field and all this." So I actually went down midway through the fourth quarter and finished writing my game coverage from the back of the end zone, but right underneath the big video board, and I got some videos that I tweeted out, some of them, and then when the game was over and the students ran out on the field and stuff, I walked out there and started taking some video too, and I saw a few people that Mickey Garitti. I mean, he's a guy who's been around a long time, longer than I've been around, longer than you've been around, and you could tell just the emotions that hit him just looking at him in the face. And Kevin Keys, another guy who's been around Liberty a long, long time, great guy. He was overcome with emotion as well, and kind of went up and gave both of those guys a hug on the field. And former football players, Chris Stokes, I don't know if anybody remembers him. He was out on the field. I saw him. And he was acting like he had just played the game, and just a huge smile on his face. And, it meant so much to so many people. And yet Dr. Falwell's vision, and without him, none of this would have happened. None of us would this podcast wouldn't be a thing, et cetera, et cetera. There's so many other people that have gone into getting to that night and to what we've seen. And, Ian McCall, we don't say enough about him, but the job he's done, I truly believe he's a top 5 AD in the entire country. He's done it at other schools, and he's doing it here at Liberty. He's done an amazing job. And Coach, you can go up and down the list. Coach Freeze, I think he's a top 5 coach in the country. Coach McKay is a great coach. Dot Richardson, Scott Jackson. I mean, you can go to almost every sport, and it's amazing how much this athletic program has grown. 15 years ago is when I graduated from college, and I heard you talking, I think it was with Kyle there early in that interview about, I never thought I'd see this in my lifetime. And I can remember walking when I was in college and talking to my dad. He's a big UVA fan. I was walking into the stadium with him at UVA up in Scott Stadium, walking in and having a conversation about, Liberty wants to one day be a big time football school. And he said, "Oh yeah, it'll get there. It'll get there." I remember thinking, like, I don't know if it's going to get there. I don't know if I'm ever going to see it. Maybe my kids will. I don't know if I will, but sitting there Saturday night and realizing that, wow, we're not done growing, but for, the most part, we've made it.
All right. So you expressed that there were several people overcome with emotion. Jon, did you cry on Saturday night?
I did not cry. I didn't shed any physical tears, but there was one time I actually, if I would have let myself go. I could have shed a few tears. That was actually, I just left the stadium and I got back and drove back over to my house and had gone down in the basement and was turning on the TV. And you and I were getting ready to get on the Twitter space for the first time. And I was just kind of thinking, like, how am I going to put this into words, what I'm feeling? And, that was the first time I probably could have if I wanted to, but no, I did not cry.
I felt that wave of emotion. Honestly, there was a third down. It was a kind of a key third down. I think it was the one right after the interception was overturned. We still ended up making, like, I think it was actually a fourth down play. But the crowd was just so loud. And I just like stopped cheering for a minute and just like looked around, and I like got out my phone and started taking video of the crowd. And like, I was like, this is unbelievable because you and I are both ride or die hard. We're into it all the way. I never thought that I would see more than like 100 people act the same way you and I did. But to see 24,012 of them acting that way was like, man, I feel like that I have so many friends in here right now. And that was like the one moment, had I like not been in a stadium with my family, like I could have let myself go there. That was an overwhelming moment for me with emotion. So, any other thoughts on BYU and what this does? I know that we're not going to talk about the games per se. You've written a lot about it. We've tweeted and talked a lot about it. But what does this do for the rest of our season? Before we jump into the men's basketball preview, what is it? How does this set us up for the rest of the season here?
Well, and it's first of all, and I tweeted this out myself on my personal account earlier today, I believe it was. I'm so glad there's a bye week this week because I know, and I'm not even in the locker room and going through the workouts and studying. I would not be mentally and emotionally ready to play a game this Saturday. So I'm glad there's a bye weeks, and it gives us all a chance to take 2, 3, 4, 5 days to just kind of relive what happened and just to have fun and reminisce on it and comprehend what happened. But at the same time, I've also looked at that schedule and yeah, that Arkansas game's looming. And I shared a stat with you earlier this week, and I forget what it is, but Hugh Freeze is something like what was it, 12-4, something like that, I think it was. When he has longer than a week to prepare for an opponent. So a season opener, a bowl game coming off a bye week, and since he's been at Liberty. So again, I'm not going to sit here today and say we're beating Arkansas. That's going to be a big mountain to climb and won't be an easy game. But, if Liberty, if you look at their schedule, they can definitely get to 10 wins and maybe more than that. And if they do that, I think this could be, I mean, the only other season you could argue that was better was 2020 when we went 10-1 with Malik. But based on what the schedule is and all the adversity that went into this and the season after Malik, I think it'd be hard to say that this one is not the best ever. But yeah, still 4 games left, a lot to play. So, but that's what this team has done and set them up with that chance the last four games of the season.